Yeah, you know what? If this was any longer than it is, I'd probably bail on the show about now. I'm going to stick with it, but it's not getting better. Secret Invasion, Episode 3. Betrayal, I think it was. I think this might be the weakest episode that it's had. And given that it already kind of had a weak start, that's not a good sign. It does, at the very least, address pretty much all of the questions I had based on the ending of the previous episode. I guess it kind of shows how much I got depressingly used to Chris Chibnall over on Doctor Who just never answering or even acknowledging that there were questions to be answered with a whole bunch of stuff he brought up, to the point that you had to wonder, did he just deliberately choose to not answer this, or did he not realize all the questions that this brought up? So it is kind of satisfying for me to have an answer to all the questions that this wife of Nick Fury, her very existence, brings up. Did he always know she was a Skrull? Yes, he did. Has she known that he's been up in space? Yes, she has. Was she okay with that? No, not really. So it's addressing all the things that I would need to have addressed based off that twist. And honestly, that in and of itself is a bit relieving, just because, again, I've seen too many things lately that bring up so many questions and then just act like they aren't there. So that part was well handled. I I don't have the energy to really dive into the politics of this thing, because the politics are not good. Quick, super fast overview of some stuff, some of which I've already said before, but we're dealing with an immigrant population that's now being treated and described as an invasion. We have a couple of token good ones who are helping our side, but for the most part, pretty much everybody that is a part of this minority group is either already fully committed to be on the side of the people who want to harm us, the human beings, or is very easily led and will just follow whoever. So either they're all vindictive or they're all stupid. So there's that. That doesn't get things off to a great start. And then we also add in, the most powerful figures who control the world are also secretly evil reptilian people. Like, it's specifically labeled like insultingly as reptilian, and let's not get into all the anti-Semitic conspiracies that friggin' stuff leans into. I feel like nobody really took a look at the potential implications of what this story is doing, and I don't have the spoons to parse all this. And like, there's more. That's just the barest surface level, but I don't have the energy. So just dealing with the narrative as a narrative and setting the politics aside, not forgiving the politics, but again, I don't have the energy for that. So dealing just with what is in front of us, well, it's trying to have major plot points pivot on characters that we don't know well enough to care. While this does answer all the immediate questions I had about Nick Fury's wife, I don't know her well enough to care. I don't have a sense of betrayal or fear or even that much wonder, when she tries to get in touch with Gravik at the end. So I'm not going like, ooh, what's going on? I'm like, okay, so that's what this person who I barely know is doing. We get Amelia Clark's character, who is someone that we have barely understood because she's pretty much undercover the entire time. So we don't really get a strong sense of who she is. We know what she's doing, but because she has to believably fit in with Gravik's people, we don't really get a sense of her as a person other than what we are just told by Talos. And now she's dead. So, okay, that's another character I barely knew, who is also now dead. As for Gravik, he's just becoming less and less nuanced with every passing episode. He's becoming the exact kind of cackling over the top villain. I mean, he hasn't cackled yet, but the exact kind of over the top, we're going to wipe out everybody kind of villain that obscures the potentially interesting nuanced look at all this. It's the same problem that Falcon and the Winter Soldier did with the Flag Smashers. It's just not. Actually, it's that, but worse in a lot of ways. At least what was her name? Carly? Whatever her name was in that. At least she was young enough that like I could give a little bit of not necessarily forgiveness, but like I feel like the uh God, what's the word? Impulsiveness. I can't even think. This thing's rotting my brain. The impulsiveness of youth, like I could see that like impacting some of what she was doing. Not that it made any of it okay, but like at least character wise, to be like, I see how we got here. This guy, like, I barely know him. I don't know him outside the context of this, so I don't feel betrayed by him. I don't feel intimidated by him. I'm seeing the back and forth between Talos and Fury, and that's probably some of the better material, but it's weaker here than it was in the previous episode where it was much stronger because that was the stuff on the train. It's also trying to contrast like really big scale threat, like this could destroy the world, but it also feels really cheap because it's all in these small locations, these single set locations with like 3 actors in any given scene most of the time. You know, I it's hard to feel the tension when, you know, we have the scale of like, oh, they're gonna blow up this ship with this submarine, and it's basically 2 guys in front of screens and then 3 people in a room with a computer. Like I feel like the amount of money they had and the amount of backing they were going to get to do this doesn't support the scale and scope of the story they're trying to tell. And honestly, even though I started this review by saying if this was more than 6 episodes, I'd probably bail on it, I honestly think it needs more than 6 episodes if this was ever going to be done with any kind of satisfaction. And again, that's even setting the politics aside, which might have doomed it regardless. But just like working as a narrative, giving us the time to know some of these freaking people worth a darn, because I don't. It's killing off characters that I feel like it expects me to care, and I don't. The only extent to which I care about Emilia Clarke's character is that's Talos's kid, and I like him. But I don't like him because of what's in here. I like him largely on the back of Ms. Marvel. And same with Nick Fury. Like, the stuff that's working the best here is Nick Fury and Talos, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the stuff that works is at least connected to them. Like, I wanted to say Rhodey works. He's okay. His scene with Fury worked, but I think that's largely on the back of Fury. So, like, the characters who are the best established prior to the start of this thing are the only ones I care about. It is doing such a bad job of getting me invested. Oh, I take that back. Olivia Colman, I am enjoying. I also don't really know. I can't say that I care about her, but I am enjoying her presence just because of the kind of character she is. She basically slots into an archetype that I like a lot. The person who is scheming and vindictive and dangerous, but also super pleasant about it. Like, I just like that as an archetype, so I don't even know how much of that is really means the character's being done better than anything else, or just it happens to be a soft spot for me. I am going to watch the last 2 episodes. You're actually not going to get a review from me next week. I'm going to be on vacation. So I'm going to deal with these last 2 episodes in one go, which is probably for the best, because I think if I had to do individual reviews for episodes 5 and 6, they would just be me groaning for about 3 minutes. So maybe tackling them both at once and dealing with whatever the ending of this thing ends up being, I'll have more to talk about. I don't know. Come on back in 2 weeks. I'll wrap this thing out. Loki really is the only one of the Disney Plus shows that has fully worked for me. The others have had good elements, but largely come up short or just fell on their face completely. I'm legitimately getting exhausted by Marvel. And I don't think it helps that as we enter what has frankly been their weakest era, they are piling more and more stuff. All these shows, the movies feeling kind of half-baked in a lot of cases. It's just not... It feels like the only reason I'm here is because I was here and enjoying it up through Endgame. I don't know how much longer this will go on. until I hit the same place that I am with Star Wars, which is that I will not be covering everything, and I will just look for the stuff that actually looks interesting, like legitimately interesting to me, not just like, oh, because it's Marvel. Because I'm still kind of covering everything, oh, because it's Marvel, because I have a track record of doing that, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep that up. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I don't mean to say like everything's bad. Spider-Man No Way Home was good. I feel like it's gotten in a lot of ways overshadowed by Across the Spider-Verse, but it's still good. I still like it. But the movies have been mostly either, oh, that's pretty good, but almost none of them have stuck with me all that much. And the shows, other than Loki, it's like, okay. The excitement is draining out of me, and that's a worrying trend. This show is not helping. What did you think of this one? What do you think of the current state of the MCU? Are you still watching everything? Am I the only one foolish enough to be doing that? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe, you know, the usual stuff. But we try and take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. Massive thanks to my Patreon supporters, and in particular, I want to thank Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Ruth, Oliver B., Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Jen, Leotha Boyd, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernabilex the Poodle, Robin Powell, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Caspero, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, David Hall, Shayla Gourlay, and Rosalind Bennett. Thanks for your support. You can get your name in the credits too if you feel like hearing me possibly struggle with it for several times before getting it right.